All right, hello, welcome. So this time is gonna be a little bit different. Uh, welcome to my first game jam, and I'm gonna stream it as well. Let me bring up the thing here so you can see what's going on. Here we go. All right, so basically it's zig+raylib is the basis here, and it started 10 minutes ago, and we have like, I think it's like 6 days or something until July 12th here to submit. And there are yeah, the goal is making game in zig+raylib in 6 days, so you can use essentially any programming language, whatever bindings you want with zig+raylib, as long as it's zig+raylib. And it must also run on the web. So yeah, fortunately I've already kind of tested this so that, you know, Zig can compile to WASM and or WASM, I don't know how it's pronounced, and then yeah, with zig+raylib and whatever else we want to have there. Also, another constraint is like under 64 megabytes. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I've seen some, well, a test that I did, it was like 10 megabytes. And that was, yeah, the web things package. So that is probably not going to be an issue. Yeah, 720 by 720 pixels, must run on web, under 64 megabytes. And then you could use a zig+raylib template to provide it. I've checked this out. It's basically a skeleton project. Really don't need to use that. It's just to make it like easier to work with C and stuff. But with Zig, I would think Zig is like way easier to use than C when it comes to setting up the project and all that. I mean, of course, it's what you're used to. But anyway, game should be playable with keyboard, mouse, and touch. That is something that we have to keep in mind as well. Should be open source and available on GitHub. Okay, that's no problem. I could just make a repo and put it up there. And I could also update it during this game jam now. And yeah, and then there's the theme as well. And the theme has been already decided here. It was voted on, and there are several themes: hex and merge. And I'm assuming, because there's no instructions for this, that you can basically kind of interpret this however you want. Like hex could be, I was thinking, of course, hexadecimals. That's my first thought of hexes. So my first thought, because you could see kind of the theme getting through at first. So I was already planning kind of like a game idea around that. But then I thought it was gonna be like sort of like a strategy game merged with some kind of real-time action game, but maybe it was too ambitious. So next thought was like, okay, well, what about like just break out with hexes instead of rectangles? But now we know that merge is also part of this. So hex plus merge, and merge makes me think of those like idle games where you merge a bunch of merge a bunch of like random things to make more things and so on. So hex plus merge, yeah, I have to think about this a little bit to figure out. But I've been working on kind of like a base, kind of like a template that I'm gonna use not only for this project but for other projects as well, where yeah, essentially just generic helper stuff that I've been putting up into a template, basically a template project that I'm gonna use for this, using zig+raylib and ECS. But yeah, so hex and merge. Hello, Penguin. Yeah. Man, it's the thing where to come up with like ideas and stuff. It's so weird because it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't want it to be forced either. It's like, okay, well, what kind of hex plus merge? Like, I think I have an easier time thinking about hex than just merge, because merge is like, also I'm thinking it should be a game that is like engaging from the get-go. So some kind of action type game, I think. Um, okay, so but like my initial idea was this. Essentially, it was like a strategy game mixed with an action game. So essentially, it's like in space, and there's like the space is divided in several sectors. So you would be like a ship floating around in one of these sectors, and you would kind of be like, and you would have like enemy ships on some other sectors, and you would like take over a sector and maybe build, you could build like buildings, spend time on that, or like go over here, get another one that maybe increases income or something like that. Yeah, and then the enemies would kind of do the same. So you would like expand on this hex map, and yeah, that's basically it. And then you would fight, like send ships over to attack or something like that. I don't know, but it became too ambitious. I think it's like too ambitious. Um, yeah, and it's only based around hex as well, so there's no merge idea in here. Another one would be like just breakout with hexes, but I'm not sure how merge will fit into that. I don't want to shoehorn it either. Mm, I mean, okay. Hex plus merge. It's so weird, like hex. Like all I can think about is just hexadecimals. But of course, it could mean cursing as well. Like cursing something. And merge. Like you have you have a witch's cauldron, and you're merging in ingredients. I don't know. Man. Um, man, this is difficult. Um, I mean, of course, yeah. Like merge, like there are like games where you just you have, some type of coin or something, and perhaps you have another coin here, and then you drag them over to merge, and then you get 2 coins, this kind of thing. I don't know. And then they're on a hex grid or something. I don't know. Or maybe you merge hexes. Like that's literally what you do. You have a hex, and you merge it with another hex to get a better hex. But that's just like the shape of, I don't know. There's also like, the shapes game where you merge, essentially you have like conveyor belts that go in this direction, and then you could put like hexes that merge into another hex. I don't know, man. Maybe like Factorio in a hex grid. Factorio in a hex grid. That seems like a daunting project as well. So you have to go like this. You have to like combine them if you want to make a straight line. That's the thing about hexes, is like if you want to make a straight line down, if it's like or arranged like this, you have to make like a zigzag pattern. I was thinking like maybe there's something here. Maybe there's merge. Maybe like a hex-based Sokoban. Hex-based Sokoban? How would that work? Like you're this dude. There's a thing over here. How would you push it? You could push it. You could go like this to push it, I guess, over there. You could move up, push it this way. Move there, push it up. Okay. I mean, I don't know how good I will be at designing like levels for this. A hex-based Sokoban game. Also, how do you move? Maybe it's like you drag. I don't know, man. I still want to do some kind of action game though, but I just don't know exactly how that would work. Maybe just a platformer with hexes instead of like blocks. But that would require some more, like I'm not ready for that kind of collision stuff though. I mean, it could just literally be blocks encoded, like hexes encoded in blocks. Just like the graphics is a bunch of hexes, and that's your connection to the hex. There you go. And then merge is like maybe something with power-ups. man. Okay, actually, let's go back, because you know we've been doing like classic games like Breakout. Okay, Breakout with hexes. That's simple, you know. Or well, I'm not. Simple is a strong word, but it's that's easy to think about. Like Breakout with hexes, and you have this ball. It's gonna go over there and hit some angle. There's gonna be some angle stuff happening here. But what about the merge there? Because then it's kind of like, okay, well now we're shoehorning in merge somehow in this idea. Because I think it's like hexing here. The hex part is pretty like, yeah, that works, right? But then the merge is like, what the hell? How does that come into this? What is going like? What is getting merged? I guess, I mean, merge can happen to anything, I guess. It could be the hexes getting merged, the ball, the whatever this is called, the brick. Or we introduce some new type of thing here. Like, you know, in Arkanoid, there's like enemies coming out from, well, I don't remember how they come out, but they basically there's enemies in the level that also affects the ball. So there's like these weird like enemy types that comes out and rotates and moves around. Maybe they can merge and become like more pain in the ass things or something like that. I don't know. Okay, what other types of games could we add? Like there's like the twin stick shooter, which was kind of like my next sort of project I was thinking about. Some kind of twin stick shooter. But that's gonna be actually kind of difficult. We have to think about the control scheme, because on the site, it's the constraint is that it has to be playable with keyboard or mouse and touch. So either the keyboard or the mouse or touch, I guess. Which is kind of strange because touch and keyboard is not really the same thing. I guess to move around something, of course, you could use WASD or something. The mouse could be used, or the touch, I guess. The touch thing is weird though, because it's so different. It's like not really a mouse. It's not exactly the same thing as a mouse. So it's almost like we have to, if that is a constraint, we have to kind of design it around the touch more than the others, because The touch is like very... It's like oftentimes you drag things around or something like that, or you select things. Like it's not really suitable for maybe action-packed type things. I mean, I guess Breakout would work because you're like just moving it around with your finger maybe. But then the merge is like, I don't know. This part is like, the hex part should be simple here and the basic game, but then the merge part is interesting how that's gonna be. I'm not sure about this monster thing. It seems too difficult for me. Also the thing is like I don't have so much time now. Unfortunately, this is kind of bad timing for me, since I can only basically have a few hours each evening on this. So I'm gonna have to take that into consideration and try to make a very simple game. Because you're gonna be judged on like how much polish you can get as well. So it's like they said like it's kind of like trying to figure out how fast can you ship a game essentially. So it's essentially going to be ship ready almost, like, you know. But I don't have all these days, like 24 hours, being able to work on it every day, you know. I only have like maybe 3 hours, 4 hours every evening or something like that. So, but yeah, probably many people are in the same position, so I shouldn't complain, you know. But I'm just saying that with the time that I have, I should probably, and with the experience that I've had, like the projects that I've done so far, I can extrapolate that to say that I should make a very simple game, because I have never really added polish to those like smaller projects that I've done now in a few streams ahead before. So I'm not sure how long that's gonna take. But okay. Could also be just hex Tetris. You have hexes coming down. I don't know, man. But also, hex, as I said, hex could mean something else. Could mean magic. So essentially, it could just mean magic. You know, you can kind of twist it to mean cursing magic, you know. Hex, it's some kind of spell. So it could be like some magician, wizard, witch, anything like that could fly here. Merge, I feel like hex could be, you know, this thing here. It could be a strategic map. It could be, you know, hexadecimals there, or just magic. And then merge is more like the gameplay. Like this is more the theme or some type of constraint to the gameplay. This is very much, I would say merge speaks a lot for the gameplay. Like that's an action you do. I guess hexing could be an action, like you're actually going around cursing things. Like a platformer where you curse curse your enemies. You're going around with a voodoo doll, and that's your attack. You have to make a voodoo doll, and that's the okay. So, so you have a platformer, or something like you have a platformer. Okay, so you're going around and you're getting like ingredients to build. That's the merge part. You're building a voodoo doll that looks like your enemies. So let's say there's an enemy that kind of, I don't know, it looks like this. And you need to find like parts to build this voodoo doll. So you need to find, I don't know, a log and a mushroom. And you combine those into a voodoo doll. It looks like this guy. And then you can essentially just stick it with a pin, and they all of them on the screen will take damage. I don't know. I don't know, man. Maybe, and if you don't have it, you have to avoid them or something like that. I mean, that could be like that could be like a puzzle platformer, but it's like it's too much stuff though to be interesting, as I would say. Like there's too much effort. But that has all the elements. It could also just be like this. You know, you have a spaceship shooter. Pew, pew, pew. And you complete a level. You go to the map. The map is just a hex grid. You can choose to go up or down, or to the, like, you start here. Start. And then when you're done with the level, you choose, okay, either up or down. I don't know. Hey Blue, good luck. What's the theme? It says right here, hex plus merge. And you can kind of, I'm assuming you can like you know, interpret it as how much. The problem with me is like I take things very literally. So I actually have a hard time with this one. Like actually coming up with an idea here. It just could be something simple that something looks like a hexadecimal in the game. Like the enemies are all hexes. It could just be a shooter where the enemies are hexes. Forget about this map thing. There's just a bunch of hexadecimals. And the merge is just a normal power-up situation where you know, you get a power-up, you get another power-up of the same type. They merge, you get a better weapon or something. I don't know. The merge. Maybe... I mean, maybe the monsters, like maybe there's a tier system with the monsters, and sometimes they decide to merge into a better hex. So they will merge and they will become the next. So this is level 1, this is level 1, and then they merge into a level 2. Okay, that could be an idea. I mean, it's pretty. I was trying to think of something cute. I don't know, something original or more interesting. I don't know, but this just feels so basic. But this could be an acceptable idea. It has both things. And I mean, I think that it's not. I mean, I guess for me, I guess it's not about actually trying to get the theme as like great neatly implemented as possible. It's probably more just shipping something that has the thing. So this would be right down my alley here, because I really like the shooters. It's a pretty easy, simple game, kind of, you know, from an architectural standpoint to make. So it has very simple, like, basic rules, or like basic components, and then it's just a matter of making it fun, making it like getting, like, you know, power-ups, stuff like that. Maybe a strategy game like chess, where you have to dominate hex area, like a mix of defense, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a perfectly good idea. I would say I'll be talking about this a little bit, but because I basically have, like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 hours each evening. There's like 6 days we have to make the game. So I think, thinking back to my other games, which took a long time to implement, just you know, Frogger, or which I didn't even complete, Asteroids, whatever. That's the thing, like, and this, so I need to make it as basic as possible, essentially, to be able to make this in time. So I'm gonna go for this. It's a very simple idea. It has all the themes like baked into it, and it's something that I've kind of done before, like a spaceship shooter type game, and it's a very simple game to make. I think that it's just gonna be a matter of, like, getting ideas for, like, you know, getting upgrades. I think I'm just gonna try to go with the simple stuff first, and then maybe some idea will come in later, and we'll add some stuff. And the main thing is gonna be like the polish of the game. So it's just gonna be, so I'm gonna try and get the basics in very quickly, hopefully, and then try to add as much polish as I can. But yeah, let's go with this. I think it's a, yeah, I mean, it's as good as an idea as any, I guess. So let's get that started, maybe. I mean, yeah, and then, you know, since it's gonna be a completed game, essentially, there's gonna be like sound effects, music. I'm thinking for music, I mean, some geniuses out there, when they do like game jams, they actually make music in the jam. But I've read that some people use, you know, royalty-free music that's already available. I think that's probably where I'm gonna go with this, because that's not a thing that I'm used to doing. So yeah, that's gonna be something there. And sound effects, I could generate some sound effects. That doesn't take a very long time to make as well. So or just reuse some sound effects that I already have. But yeah, let's start here. So the thing is here that I have kind of like a basic project, like I have this kind of template set up here already, which is kind of like my main template that I'm using for both this and also for my other games. So it's essentially kind of generic template thing here. So I'm gonna copy that into, well, actually I could just move it, actually. Let's just call this yeah, just regular game jam. Okay, and then I do have, so this is kind of, this is like set up here, and I have both. So if I go to session, I have both like you know, I can start this up in... Actually, okay, one thing that oh, sorry. Thank you, Phil. Welcome by. Game from scratch now. I mean, it's it is kind of from scratch. I mean, the thing is, like, you are allowed to use libraries, like, you know, physics libraries or things like that. The only difference here is I'm kind of using just my own built kind of like template that I can basically use for any game. So it's just a generic functionality. I'm not sure. I mean, I guess we're gonna see if it's, you know, allowed to do that. I don't think they require you to just go from everything from scratch, because then it's, you know, you're gonna spend like all the time building, you know, or copy pasting, you know, some functionality somewhere. I don't know. That's the one thing about game jams which is kind of fuzzy to me. How much you're allowed to kind of reuse or whatever like that. But yeah, like, what if you already made a game that is kind of the same as you make that you're supposed to make? Can you just take your old project and just change a couple of things? I don't know. Anyway, how long is the jam? The jam is 6 days. So it starts today and it ends at July 12th. Oh, I see. It's the fingerprint that's the issue. Okay, sure, fine. Let's... Because I changed the name, so now they want the fingerprint changed. Interesting. They want the hex version. Okay. There we go. So this one I set up, and it has some stuff already kind of built in here. So I made this little logo, because the template, the Raylib template that I used had like a logo. So I just downloaded this screenshot from the project, used it as kind of a logo. And then we have this basic menu where you can set the volume, and that's basically it. And then you can start the game. You can kind of see the game in the background. This is just a basic, you know, template start here. And there's just a pause menu as well. So that's it. That's all there is in this thing, and it has a couple of convenient stuff to, you know, make you know, a game. And we can also build to the web. So I can build to the web here. Hopefully. The one thing that I have to make sure though is, I mean, a shooter on a phone, because they want touch to be, maybe a horizontal shooter is better than vertical in that case. Because yeah, a horizontal is more, you know, you have your thumb at the bottom to move the ship, right? There we go. And it's essentially starting itself. And there you go. Now it's on, this is the web browser here. So that also works in the web browser. I also have to make sure that touch and clicks work and stuff like that. But yeah, the point is it works. Oops. Okay, cool. Because that was a prerequisite for the game as well, to be run on the web. Okay, and in this template, we have a couple of like basic things. We have a basic physics system, which essentially just we have a grid, spatial grid thing there you can define like very basic like you know, solid or not solid grid tiles. We have like, you know, the physics which updates, you know, acceleration, velocity, position and stuff like that. We can destroy entities. Relative position, we can set an entity to be, like, kind of follow another entity's position with an offset, so they are kind of together as one. Camera controls the camera. Controllables, like, you know, the thing you control with your control. Input is gathering the input information, putting it into a more usable format. And then, yeah, a bunch of different things here. So, what should we do here? Yeah, so I think first, I'm just gonna add like a player component. That could keep things like how many lives we have, and I'm not sure if it's gonna be one hit kill. I guess one hit kill is like the usual shenanigans going on. There could be other things here, like how, like your weapon or whatever. But yeah, that's essentially the player there. We have create player. You are probably going to be a little bit smaller. Actually, the first thing that I want to do is I want to set up the, well, the resolution is 720, 720, which is also kind of strange if you're going to play it on mobile. Like, I don't really understand the touch thing. But yeah, because mobile, then you would have either like a different landscape. You would have landscape mode, or what the hell's the other one called? Portrait mode. Good luck. Thank you, piano coder. All right, so where are we? Here. Let's add player. And oh yeah, I was gonna set the screen size and everything like that. So pixel size, let's just do. So basically, what they mean by 720, 720, it doesn't mean that your actual like game resolution is going to be like the pixel size is going to match 720 by 720. It just means that the resolution of kind of the box where the game is rendered in should be 720 by 720 pixels. But then you can kind of zoom in if you want to scale it up to make the pixels larger. So we could choose any kind of factor of 720, 720 here if we want, you know. So we can choose, you know, to be 720, 720, or we can choose any multiple of 720, 720 here, where they could be different. I'm gonna choose, perhaps then, if it's going to be like a vertical shooter, I'm gonna look up the aspect ratio on a phone or whatever. Aspect ratio, mobile, portrait is 916. Okay, so what is 720? Okay, 720 over 9 is 80. So 80 and 720 over 16 is 45. Wait, it should be the other way around. Is that really like 916? Yeah, because if we time them now, they should be the same. Yeah. Okay, and then we can say, we can do like, we can scale it up now. So we can say like times, not 10, because then, I mean, we could go up to 9 actually. We could take times 9. So 45 times 9. And 80 times 9, 720. So 405 by 720. That's the pixel size. Wait, does that work though? It's just gonna be that the height is 720. Actually, you know what? No. Well, maybe this is the world size. Or not the world size, but maybe this is the screen size is do I use this anywhere? Yeah, I use it over here. We can change that though. It's just if we want to follow with the camera. I don't think we're gonna have a camera. I don't think the camera's gonna move, to be honest. So this doesn't really matter. Yeah, so let's just, I'm gonna rename you to be kind of like, I'm gonna choose world size just because I don't have a better name. That's the size. So this is the screen size. That's the resolution of the box that we're rendering in. And this is the game world size where things actually like simulated in. Okay. So, cool. And then you, well, this doesn't really matter because we're not gonna follow the player. Okay, now back to the player, or set up create player here. So if we run this and see, oh yeah, I have to add player here. Maybe I should make a script for this, like add component or something. I don't know, maybe not. And okay, because I've kind of found a pattern here, although I've never really tried it with maybe a larger. Oh, here we can see an issue already. So draw logo of height. Right. We have to kind of scale it. Also, it's like the wrong resolution. Also, if you're in landscape mode, this doesn't work. Maybe, I mean, that's also the thing. We could force it to be landscape mode, because then you could use your left thumb. I don't know. I like the horizontal maybe better. Or vertical, I mean. Sorry. Okay, you know what? I'm not gonna figure this out. It's just gonna have to be like this. Oh yeah, the menu though. The menu is using screen size. We should use world size. We need some kind of anchor or something. There's a world size. There should also be like a world position. which is like world size. No, that's and a world size. And then we take screen size. It's gonna be like screen size x over 2 minus world size x over 2 by 0. Okay. No, that's just, yeah. Right. World position. We'll do this, and then we'll say cursor equals cursor add position. That would probably work, hopefully. This doesn't work. No. Yeah. Wait. Oh yeah, wait. Because the camera... Oh wait, we're zoomed in, right? We shouldn't be zoomed in. Oops. Yeah, but now it's like super small. Yeah, and you can see kind of that's the world. The world size is like inside this faded rectangle, as you can see here. This is gonna go so well. This is okay. Wait, size. We're just gonna hide this. Okay. So this will be the left side. It's like it's just gonna be drawn behind. Yeah. So now everything that's is like on this side won't like show up. Okay, and then on the right side,
But this is so weird though. I don't really like this though. It's more like the camera should just move over. But we still want these rectangles though. I don't want the world coordinates to be messed up with this, but whatever. So then you are gonna be world X, and then screen size X. Doesn't actually matter. So now both different sides are, because let's say we change this to be like dark gray or something, we could see the background of the gameplay should be in the middle, or no? Wait, what the hell? Oh, wait. This should be. Oh, this should be this plus world size as well. There we go. Okay, there we go. Now we have like the mid part is where our ship should be. Okay, cool. Okay, so we don't need a grid, so I'm just gonna disable that. Yeah. You are, I think you're noble, yeah. So that's still gonna run here, I think. Okay. I'm also gonna do, since we're in like dev mode, I'm going to say that if mode is this, we start at logo, otherwise we start at gameplay. So that will skip the kind of this, that will skip the whole intro and everything. We go straight into the game. Okay, cool. I'm gonna disable this. Okay. Now, I guess we could make... Let's make some hex enemies. Hex enemies. Maybe we should have black to start with, and you know, it's just gonna, I'm just gonna make a hex of some sort here, a hex shape. I mean, it does kind of look like a ship. There we go. Is that correct? Like, yeah, I think maybe. No, it's not actually correct. This should be like, this should like go down. Oops. Should go down one more. Okay. Okay, there we go. There's our hex. So what I'm thinking here is probably what we want to do maybe is like make this outline maybe. Whoops. I mean, it could be black. It could also, I'm just gonna make it like very dark gray. So I think I'm gonna make a kind of like a base dark. Why can't I select the color? Select by color. Oh, it's because like, okay. No. Why can't I select by color? There we go. So I'm thinking like making a grayscale and then we'll just tint it in different colors based on what type it is. Essentially, we could do that to start with. Maybe later I'll add like different weapons or something depending on the type of hex or something like that. I'm not exactly sure how this should look here, but I'll just add some lines here just to have something we could work with. Okay, and then we'll have a little bit brighter here. Maybe it's even something like this. I don't know. Why? Some kind of weird gradient here. All right. There we go. There's our little hex thing. It looks pretty stupid, but there you go. Hello, Subinara. What's up? What's up? Long time no see. Yeah. What's happening, man? There we go. Okay, let's move you up. Yeah, it looks pretty stupid, but whatever. Maybe I'll, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna move it up here. I'm gonna save this. Sprites. Okay, there's our little hex thing. Let's make... I mean, I'm not sure exactly how our ship is gonna look. Maybe we are also hex. Except we're rotated. Why can't I rotate? Oh. Okay. Okay, this is good enough for now. So we're just a rotated hex. So we basically, our difference comes in this alignment here. They are, you know, they are aligned this way. We're aligned this way. So therefore we are enemies. Okay. Good enough, right? And there we go. Okay, so that's, you know, a start, I guess. Okay, whoops, let me copy that. And that should be in source resources. I'm gonna call you sprite sheet. Okay, so then in here we have load somewhere. you should be here. Because the name here is important, because this resources is like embedded into the web as well. So we have to put things in this directory that we want to have. And so I'm adding it there to be able to, you know, ship it with the WASM stuff. Because otherwise it wouldn't load in the web version. All right, Subedara, you do that. Cool, cool. I'll see you later. Okay. Now I'm gonna, the player, I'm gonna get, let's see, worlds. So what I'm thinking here is like when we do the camera, I actually want to offset it a little bit. We're gonna get the world position, because I want like the 0, 0 to be at the top left of the thing you see. So I'm gonna try to set this as an offset. I'm not exactly sure how that's gonna look. And then I'll set the player to be starting at 0, 0. Hopefully that will make the player show up at the top left of the visible area. Otherwise we'll have to fiddle around with this a little bit. What the hell am I looking at? Okay, that did not work. Let's do like negative. Or maybe it should be over 2 or something. Not really sure. Player definitely does not show up anywhere. Maybe like this. Okay, well, the player is up there, so it did not... Wait, am I thinking about this correctly? Okay, you know what? Never mind. Let's just make it so that, because otherwise it's just like now if I want to create something, I have to take the world position into account and all that stuff. But I guess it's fine. Let's take the world size as well, and so you would be position and world size. I mean, we can make we can actually make a convenience function here. Let's go to world center. Gives us a vector. So this will just be the like the center point. So we get the world size. We get the world position, and then we return world size, scale by 1/2, and we add the position. That should be the center. So if we now do world center, and put this there, then the player should be in the center. Yes, okay, cool. And then I'm gonna take center. Let's make another one that is like center bottom. I mean, essentially we can do the same thing, except we multiply by 1, 2. Whoops, and I didn't change the position, but there we go. Position is center bottom. All right, because the player is like, the origin is like the top, or the position is like top left. So we should do like subtract player size. Player size is... I don't really know what the player size is, actually. And also, this is gonna be in its sprite texture, which we should have. I'm gonna go to game. I'm gonna add a convenience function here, sprite sheet. Okay. There's only one texture, and that's the sprite sheet. So sprite sheet, the sprite sheet. There we go. Okay, the source we can figure out by looking at here, and this is the player over here. 028 2763. Okay. There we go. And then the player size is gonna be get no, that's just gonna be renderable size. Okay. Oh. You know what? I'm gonna make zig+raylib function, zig+raylib const function, which gives us the constant value. And you are also gonna have a const variant. So you are now const, because yeah, that's like, it's like kind of like an ID anyway, so we don't need it to be a pointer. There we go. That should save us a lot of headache, because I've run into that issue a lot of times. Okay, now we should spawn at the bottom, taking things into account, and that did not work. And 18, 34, 48. Wait. Oh yeah, because we're not actually loading the spreadsheet. This thing is not called. We call it. There we go. Now we should have it. Okay, there we go. We have our little hex thing in here. Cool. I'm gonna use the keyboard because that's what they want us to use. Also, touch should work as well. We have to keep that in mind, because I think that with touch, it's like, I think it's like you're always gonna shoot or something like that in that case. Let's make like a bullet, which I'm gonna make a tiny hex. Everything is a hex. It's a very literal interpretation here. Okay. Yeah, that's the bullet. Okay. So we already have a shoot input, so we can. Well, actually, we don't really need a shoot input because if we're always shooting, then that's what we do. Yeah. So. Do want to add like a weapon component, or I'm just gonna make this super simple. I'm just gonna add a player. I'm just gonna add a player system to make this super simple here. And this is the good thing where you can kind of mix like hardcore ECS with just ad hoc stuff, where you don't really need a bunch of different systems. You can just make one system that does everything with a bunch of components as well. Like, you can mix and match however you want to your heart's extent. So there we go. Enabled init function update. Oops. No, I don't want to create a panic function. I want to get game. Okay, so the player as well is like, I want to add, is there like a player function in here? No, there's not. So I'm going to add a convenience function, get the player. This gives us entity context that is the player. And then essentially, this is just returning get by tag. So I have this get one by tag, which essentially is just that, like, you put in a type. This is like supposed to be a tag, or it can really be any component, but essentially it's most useful with tags, where tags essentially is like a component doesn't have any data, that is just meant to be like a marker. So this is like the player marker. So whichever entity has the player marker is the player entity. So I would just get the player entity by calling this function. This function just takes the tag type and gets you the first entity that matches this tag. So it's a very convenient way to just get one thing that is like, or anything that it has like a tag. That is just like one instance of this thing. All right, and then we can get the player, game player, and I mean, one thing that we could do is we could say if lives, oh yeah, that's the entity context, right? So we have player, and then we have player component, which is gonna be no, player get player. So here's the actual data, and if player component lives is equal to 0, then we can go to game over. Or something like that, which we don't really have yet, but we could do that. We could have game over, and now there should be a bunch of errors. No? What the hell? There should be an error here. There's going to be an error here, but so game over is probably gonna be a lot like game draw menu. Like we draw gameplay first, and then we draw game over UI. Sure, why not? Where's the menu? Yeah, let's copy that. So we have like the menu, but we don't really have a menu. We have game over and press start. Actually, let's just show game over for a while, and then it's gonna like exit to the menu or something. Yeah, but just, I mean, this is essentially just gonna be at center. Alright. And then we also have update game over. It could probably be like we press a button as well to exit to the menu. It could be a timer, or we press the button. Nah, let's just have a timer. So I have this like a pattern here where for every screen state I have like a state, like a struct. And so here we're gonna say transition at. So the transition at, this is gonna determine when we transition over to the next state. And it's gonna be t plus game over duration. Game over duration is going to be, I don't know, 5 seconds or something. Maybe that's too much. 4. We could have some kind of fade effect stuff as well, so that you can kind of see that, oh, something's happening, you know, so you don't get stuck in like, what the hell do I do now, or something like that. But then there's essentially nothing happening here. Actually there is something happening here. So we are gonna add the game over state here and start at 0. That's oops. Okay. Now we have that, and then so actually let's do this. Let's do like a game over function that just makes us go into game over. Okay, so screen state, game over, and we also want to set game over state to be elapsed time there. Okay, so instead of calling this, we're gonna just say game over that. Okay. And then you are gonna check if self game over transition at is less than or equal to elapsed time. Then we're gonna transition into, we essentially need to restart the game. So I'm just gonna say restart, and we'll do it there. restart. Screen state is gonna be main. Well, it's gonna be menu, and then menu is gonna be just the initial menu. And we also want to destroy all entities, which we don't really have yet. So I'm gonna make a private function, destroy all entities. And I mean, the thing about this is we kind of need to iterate through all entities while destroying them. So actually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say so we could utilize our destroy entity system for this. So I'm gonna add all the things. I'm gonna go into registry, and I'm gonna go into data, which has all entities. No, not data. Is it raw? Wait. No. Okay, we can get an iterator over the entities, I guess. So this is an iterator over all entities. And then we get the next entity. And we're gonna say destroy entity. This one we call, this one will actually like add it to our entity, destroy entity system. Because the thing is, like, we don't want to iterate while removing an entity, so we have to do it like after we have iterated. So first we iterate all entities, and what this is doing is just adding it to a list that we're gonna use later to actually remove all the entities. So then we go into our destroy system, and we're gonna call just update, because this will then go in and actually remove all entities. So there we go. That should actually destroy all entities like immediately. It's gonna destroy all entities. Okay, so then we can call this destroy all entities, and essentially then we need to also call setup, except we don't want to, we essentially want to split the setup into setting up things that should be done once and things that should be done every time we want to restart. So basically these things we don't want to do again. Of course, we don't want to create another window or mess with that. This just loads in the logo file. This it's not really important. This is just a one-time setup for the first gameplay. Camera is a singleton, so that one we don't want to do either. The sprite sheet we don't want to do, that's also a singleton, and the system. So all of these three are like one-time setups, and then the player is essentially like everything else here is going to be like, you know, recurring things. So I'm going to call this setup, I guess entity. We could call this entities, setup entities. So yeah, that's the player. And then everything else here is like one-time setup. So here we actually call setup entities. Okay, so then we need setup entities here. Where do we have the setup here? We have setup there. Okay. So then, I mean, we could just import it directly here. We don't really need setup entities. Okay. That's the restart. Okay. But we don't really have a way to go back to getting to die now. So I'm gonna go to controllable. I'm gonna add, if we press the shoot button, I'm gonna lose a life. So we're gonna get the player component. And we're gonna decrease lives by 1. I'm gonna do this just to be safe there. Because it's an unsigned integer. Okay. So there we go. Let's also, we should have some kind of draw HUD here. Alright, so draw HUD. Just gonna draw the HUD here. There's gonna be like well, okay, for now I'm just gonna draw text, I think. So draw text, lives equals super cool text here. Lives is just player component lives. Font size, I don't know, 8. Position, I have to work on that. White. Okay, so position is gonna be, let's start out at world center. Let's do like world center top. Why not? So that's gonna be 0. Okay. So we have world center top, and then let's add like a tiny bit of padding there. Okay, and let's also do centered, because otherwise it's gonna look weird, I think. Okay, so that should like show us how much lives we have. Okay, I guess we'll increase you a little bit here. Let's do like 16. Increase you. Why is it still like so far up? Is it because it's centered? Okay, let's add another one. Okay, so lives is 3. I press shoot. I go down live. We're at live 0. Oh yeah, I forgot why. So you might be wondering, why are we not getting game over? Well, I forgot to add the player system in everything, so let's do that. Very important to sort this file. There we go. We have that. Now I need to go to update. So here we want to get, we can get it here. Player system is going to be get singleton player system update. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. We get game over. We have to wait 4 seconds, and then we go back to the main menu, question mark. No, that's not the main menu. Okay. Wait, did we get an error here? Index out of bounds. Oh. Oh, I see, I see. So we didn't, so for some reason, the menu did not get set up properly. So game over goes to game over. Here is like menu is in it. Oh yeah, I forgot to actually actually set menu. Menu, so this is just menu and then main menu. Right, there we go. Okay, yeah, because the menu items are not like initialized at first. You have to set them. Game over. Okay, there we go. Now we can do things there. Oh, the volume thing is not rendered properly there, but there we go. Now we can like restart the game here. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's like I'm not sure if I'm focusing on the correct things, but it was supposed to have these sort of, you know, kind of like a feel like a full game thing. So I'm supposing like adding a menu is like one thing that you want to have, and being able to get like game over, seeing a game over screen. Now, of course, they need maybe some kind of polish, but yeah, we have the basics in anyway. All right, so, and like the means to actually like, you know, set it up and all that stuff. Okay, so yeah, so let's now make this. I'm gonna remove that so we don't kill ourselves. Let's make it so that we can shoot bullets. We're gonna do that from here. Shoot. I'm just gonna call this shoot here. And yeah, we could pass the player so we don't have to get the player every time, I guess. This is an entity context. I guess we could also pass whatever. Now this function could determine like what kind of thing you could shoot. Maybe later we'll add more kinds of weapons when you have like upgraded your weapon or something like that. I'm just gonna make it so that we're shooting something at first here. And so essentially we're just gonna spawn some kind of spawn projectile, and projectile, let's get the player body, so the position is that, and we're gonna have some kind of offset probably later. But spawn projectile position. So we'll have the projectile. It's gonna be, actually let's just call this context, create entity. We're gonna add a body in it at position. We're gonna get the body out, and we're gonna say velocity is y is gonna be negative something 500. Okay, and then we'll just add renderable sprite. Texture is sprite sheet. Source is whatever we had over here. So it's 28, 38, 713. 28, 38, 713. Okay. Now, yeah, that's enough to just render it. I'm going to go over here, and we're gonna have like next shoot at. Okay, that's when we're gonna spawn the bullets. If we game over, we don't really need to do anything else. Also, well, the thing is, like, this could potentially be an issue, because in here, no, we don't do anything actually. It's in the restart we do things differently, right? That's right. Okay, well, actually, never mind. If next shoot adds less than or equal to game elapsed time, then we shoot. I don't have self up here. Oops. Then we shoot. Alright. Cool. Okay, so now we should actually be shooting. Although it's gonna come from the top left of the player, I think. Except nothing's happening. Nothing is happening. Are we calling this? Yes, we're calling update. Oh yeah, also, of course, player next shoot add should be plus equals, and we don't have like, okay, shoot cooldown. That should probably be, actually that should probably be dynamic there. So we'll start at, I don't know, 0.2 should probably be fine. So every 0.2 seconds you're gonna shoot. But why is that not happening though? So we spawn it. We add it at the same position as the player. We set velocity going up. We have a sprite. Yeah, that should be like the minimum stuff required to see it, at least. Unless it's going like down. I'm gonna do this. See if we get anything anywhere. Huh. Are we actually going in here? Yes. I'm gonna say yes. If we are. Should have gotten. Yes, we are going. Okay. Okay. So what is going on? I am confused. I'm very confused. Was this wrong? This coordinate here, maybe? 28. Oh, wait. I know what's wrong. I forgot to copy over the file, so yeah, I need to copy over that. There we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, maybe 0.2 is a bit too fast, actually. So let's do like 0.6. Okay, cool. That's should work for maybe first weapon there, I don't know. Now the sprite also has, I think, a tint. Or not. So let's add a tint here. It's gonna be a color. This is gonna be the tint. And I'm gonna set it to white to start with. However, and get tint, or right, tint is, let's set the player to be like red. Wait, this is the bullet. The bullet should be maybe orange. And then oh, we already get renderable here. Renderable. And the player could be red, perhaps. There we go. So we can change the color of the hexes programmatically now. Okay. So let's say you should also be spawning like in the center, I guess, as well. It's not really super important because I want to have like a bunch of different. Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about that for now. I'm gonna make. Let's just make like an enemy system. And it's probably gonna have some kind of state. Not sure exactly. But I'm gonna do this for now. Alright, so you will so the idea of the enemy system was that it's gonna spawn enemies based on things. So let me just properly add this in for now. Set up. Update. Alright. Alright, so now we're calling update and all that. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure how this is gonna be. It could also be take care of like the behavior of the monster or the enemies so that they kind of merge together and stuff like that into their other counterparts. So actually, to start with, we probably just want tier 1, like a couple of tier 1s. I don't know. Well, I guess the balance comes later or something. Let's do. So I did something like this before. Like I made like what you could do, like maybe something like a wave struct that has a sequence of enemies with a timer, like so wave essentially is like a multiple, it's just like multiple enemies. So we could have like a definition would be the wave definition that will define. So wave is going to be the instance and this is kind of the type of wave. So you would have like the enemies are gonna be some kind of slice of enemy definitions, and then I guess that's gonna be it. Or yeah, it could also be, we could also have like interval, which decides how fast they're gonna like spawn, I guess, something like that. Enemy definition is just, I'm just gonna make this an enum for now, and we're just gonna have different tiers, I guess, like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. Like I think that's gonna be it. Like actually, like the enemies are just gonna be like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and so on. So let's just make a couple of those. There we go. Okay, and then you have the definition, and then you're also gonna have an enemies spawned, which keeps track of how far along have we gone. Okay, and we can also say next spawn at should spawn I guess could be cool. Okay, next spawn could give us an enemy definition, and it's just gonna be enemies like that. It could, now this could go wrong, out of bounds, but we'll just have to make sure to call that in a proper time. But that gives us that, so that's good. Now, let's see, we should probably have like a current wave or something. Current wave. And actually, I'm gonna set you probably to undefined for now. And then we're gonna have like also then encompass like the wave in multiple waves. That's gonna be like one stage, maybe. Stage is gonna be have a bunch of waves. Now we could make waves different as well. Like you could have an interval between the waves. You could like, so you get like a little pause. You could have, yeah, a bunch of different things, but let's just make this thing here, and then waves like spawned, next spawn at, or next, I guess next wave at should advance or something. I don't know what to call this. And next wave is going to be the wave. Actually, these are wave definitions. But this could spawn a wave here. Let's add an init function as well, which gives us a wave definition. All right. so that's the stage. Now we probably also want to have multiple stages, but I'm gonna start with the one stage for now. I mean, what about bosses though? I don't know, man. Maybe bosses are special enemy types. Okay, but let's start here anyway. Now, should advance. It's probably not actually time-based though. Well, it could be. We probably want to keep track of... Well... Actually, you know what? We could have total duration. Actually, we could... Actually, we can just return enemies. No. You know what? Let's just return this. And you are going to be enemies length times interval. But the thing is, we need length to be in F64. So we need to do that first. Alright. Cool. So now we can get the duration there. And well, okay. Let's see. I don't know. Maybe we'll have like stages. Is a bunch of stages. And actually these should be constant. Gives us a stage. And you wait. You are constant. Yes, good. So basically, just can do init, and then the waves. It's gonna be like. So this is the stage. Yes, and this is the list of waves. And you need enemies. Which essentially I'm just gonna make. So the first one's gonna have like, I don't know, 3 tier 1s or something. With an interval of 2 seconds. Okay. And so that it's just gonna be a bunch of these waves here. I'm gonna make like maybe 3 of those. And you should probably have like an interval here as well. Okay, right. So the interval between waves, I don't know, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. Okay. So, then the current wave would be like, well, we also need current stage then, I guess. But this one we could set to stage is 0. And a wave is like current stage. Well, its stage is 0 plus, or next wave. Okay. It's all comp time, so that should be fine. Okay, now we need self here. And we're gonna check if stage should advance. Let's get T here. Then, okay, I'm gonna call advance here. Should be a function there, like advance. So that's gonna cause you to be add 1. We could also have like is over. Actually, we probably need that. If this is more than or equal to wave's length, or if it's less, then we're still in. Otherwise, if self should advance, actually then we just return self should advance. But we also want to kill the boss, I guess. But this could be the trigger to kill the boss, I guess. Advance, we do this, and then we say next wave at is going to be equal to t plus interval plus next wave dot duration. All right. Hopefully this will work here. And also when we initialize, we well, we're gonna say next wave at is going to be waves 0 total duration plus interval. Okay, different, like 2 different places where we have this functionality, but that's kind of the way things happen, like when you have this init function and stuff like that. Okay, and 0 should be... Actually, 0 is not a good judgment for when to actually initialize things. We should probably have like a setup function that like starts the stage. When we start the stage, that, and then we should set the things to where they should be. So yeah, so 0 is not a good thing to use here. We could pass t in here, maybe, to kind of set this up properly here. But let's figure it out as we go here. So there we go. We should be like, if we should advance the stage, we advance it. And we also get the next wave. It's gonna be next wave, or we call is over. So if it's over, actually it should just be this, because otherwise we have to wait until the entire thing. Yeah, that doesn't work. Yeah, it should just be this, or I mean this. If it's over, then we need to advance we need to set the current stage to be the next one. There's probably gonna be other things happening in here though. And this is gonna fail once we have done all the stages. I guess we could check here, like if we don't have any more stages. Or stages length. Then we're gonna do ending here and just return. Okay. And this is what's gonna happen in there. And yeah. Actually, wait. Advance stage. I mean, yeah, sure. That is like sort of independent of what's happening there. Okay, there we go. Current stage. We still want to call next wave here though. Yeah. Okay, so next wave is equal to that. Actually, yeah. And then here should also be called like advance. Okay. Right, you. Okay. So actually, self current wave is equal to that. And then you. Yeah, that doesn't matter, I don't think. We don't need T there. Because it's gonna spawn immediately anyway. Unless we want some leeway when we start the level, when the first wave comes in. But okay, we could just add, well, I mean, we could just add an empty wave to start with, I guess. We could just add this. Because what's gonna happen there is like this wave interval will It's gonna have to wait for this wave interval to be completed and then go over here. So we're gonna have like 4 seconds of nothing, and then the spawns are gonna come. Okay. So if we should advance the stage, we advance the stage. Now we also want to check if the current wave needs to spawn. Then we're gonna spawn next. So spawn next. All right. So then enemy definition is gonna be current wave next spawn. And then we're gonna advance you. All right, and then we're gonna spawn. Let's have like spawn. Enemy definition. All right. Yes. So let's create this enemy here. We'll do game. We'll add a body. Position is going to be interesting. Right. So we don't really have a. We could provide. I guess we could provide a position in the wave definition. It could be like a spawn position where this is happening. We could pass that into here. I like to have the same order. And so then let's also bring in the definition of the wave so we can get like metadata stuff there as well. Definition there. All right, so now we can just grab that. That's it. We also want to grab the body as well, and we want to change you to, I don't know, 200 or something. So it's just gonna go straight down for now. This is a thing also, like there's so many details. I have no idea how I'm gonna manage all this, but let's just see how far we'll get. It's gonna be a good exercise anyway. Okay, so we're going down, and then we need a render thing. So renderable sprite, sprite sheet, and then you're gonna be at. We should probably make a convenience function actually for this, like, you know, making, you know, init sprite like this, which gives you a renderable, and then we simply have the source rectangle here, and then this will be just return dot init sprite. Also we need self sprite sheet source, because then we can just call it, instead of doing all this, we can do game init sprite. We don't have to pass that, we just pass the source rectangle, so that's fine. Okay, and then you are gonna be this thing up here. 006327. And we can also grab the renderable out. And we can set the tint based on the enemy definition. So enemy definition, we could make a function that maps you to a tint of the specific tier. That's just gonna be a very simple way to do it right now. Turn switch self. Tier 1 is gonna be, I don't know, green. Tier 2, blue. Tier 3, red. Tier 4 is gonna be like yellow. All right. Okay. So, yeah. Cool. Are we calling this? Yes, we are. So hopefully now we should be spawning enemies in waves. That's a lot of stuff without testing anything, but I've done sort of this before, so I had kind of like an idea how to do it, but we'll see. There should be probably plenty of things that doesn't work here. And we also don't get, I don't understand why we don't get all these compiler errors. Expected 3 arguments. Oh, right, position, that's right. So this one doesn't matter. The position is going to be interesting though, because we don't have access to the world position here, actually. So maybe we'll make that relative to the world position, actually. So when we spawn, the position is going to be wave def position add game world position. So it's going to be offset by the world position. That should work. And then we'll use you over there. Okay, so now that's relative position. That works better. Okay, so you... And the thing is, we don't really have the world size, although we know it's kind of like 200. I'm just gonna put all of them, well, we'll do a little bit like this. Yeah. Okay. Are you done, or are there more issues here? No, that's... Well, we have some runtime errors. Systems enemy 145. Next spawn. Out of bounds. 0. Oh, because there is no at the start, right? So we don't have, right. So this thing, we should have then an if here. If the waves, well, actually, no, hang on. Which one was it? Spawn, that was the issue. I think it was, yeah, next spawn. So should spawn gives us, tries to give you the next spawn. So should spawn is like we need to check if enemies length is 0, then we return, I mean, we should return false. The thing is, we should also have is over. It only checks number of spawns or waves spawned. Should advance, does check for the timer though. So this should get called and then we advance. Yeah. So that should work, hopefully. It's a little bit wonky here, but there we go. Here's our first enemies. Wait, did I make them 4? So there's 5. 4, 5. Also, they kind of appear from out of nowhere, so we should probably move them back actually a little bit. But yeah, the basics are working here, so I'll just call this at the back. Okay, yeah, because it's weird, because it's 3. There should be 3 enemies, not 5. So, I don't know what's going on there. There's probably some issues, like should spawn. We spawn the next. We grab the next spawn, which at first should be the first one, and then we advance. They should oh, we need to add this. Yeah, also we should also check if we already spawned everything. So we should check here if this is more than or less than, because we're checking for, we're returning false here, enemy's length. So if it's less, no, wait. If it's more than or equal, then we return false, right? Because then we don't have any enemies left to spawn. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, that's it. And then there's like 4 seconds interval, and then we get the next one. Cool. All right, and then we can, you know, we can add some variations, like let's see, we can add, like, you know, we can add a tiny bit of variation to, like, when, like, the enemies are spawning. I mean, we could do it here, I guess. We have the wave definition, current wave. Let's make this mutable, and then we'll just say if current wave, well, if stage, no, oh. And then this modulus 2 is 0, so essentially every other wave, we're gonna say that x is gonna be, I don't know, we'll add like 64 or something. Actually, we'll add 32. Like in each direction. what's your issue here? Oh. So now it should be like spawning. Well, okay. I don't actually see a difference. No, there's no difference. Dr. Mario, yeah. Yeah, I mean, my artistic, I'm not like blown away by my artistic, what the hell is it called? Skills. Why is that not doing anything? Is it, wait, it should like, well, okay, maybe it's always going into one of them. Does this not work? The modulus. Ah, wave spawn. No. It should be current wave dot enemy spawn. There we go. Looks like pills dropping. I mean, yeah, I guess it's kind of like abstract. You can kind of interpret it however you want. There we go. Now we got some variations here. It's gonna be the same, exact same variation every time, but whatever. We got some a little bit of variation. Okay, so let's make it so that they can. I mean, yeah. The thing here is like it's pretty easy to make them like die when a bullet hits them. We can make them have like health. Okay, sure. Let's do something very simple here. So. But the thing is, the thing that I was thinking about, like the polish of making like a nice kill animation, something like that. But so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a component. I'm gonna add a tag. It's gonna be like player bullet or something, player projectile. Yeah, sure. I'm gonna make this very naively just to make things move ahead. I'm gonna add like a damage here so we could have, you know, things being damaged. Do we want it to be, maybe it's better to be a floating point. No, maybe not. There's gonna be precision weird stuff happening. Yeah, let's just do that. Okay. Alright, so we have this projectile thing. Because with ECS you would probably want to make something more generic than this. But, you know, time constraint and all that, I'm just gonna try and move as fast as I can. And this we could incorporate this just in the enemy system, actually. So essentially, like after we've done the kind of stage update, essentially I'm gonna call you update stage. This is actually just taking longer for no reason, but whatever. Okay, and then we have update hits, I guess. I'm gonna put you down here. We don't need self here, but let's do it like that anyway, because it's easier to change later. Okay. So or we have like a pattern there. Yeah, so we're gonna have an iterator. So we're gonna go through all the bullets that it currently exists and check, or maybe, yeah, we're gonna have to do like a brute force here. I'm gonna do brute force. We do have the grid spatial thing that we could maybe use to, you know, store dynamic objects and stuff like that to like optimize the thing. I don't think it's needed though. I think this is probably gonna be very, like, we're not gonna have too much going on. Have you seen, I mean, I guess it depends on how many project tiles we're actually gonna have. Have you seen Box 3D? No, I haven't. I actually saw it. Someone mentioned it the first time today in the Raylib Game Jam chat. But that's pretty cool. Box 3D. I might look at that at some point because I've looked into Box 2D a little tiny bit. And okay, so let's get our iterator here. We want to grab all of our. How should we do this? Better to go through enemies first. We don't actually have an enemy component. We should have an enemy component. Because here we can also store things like if they have health, for example. Oops. Come on. We're in a hurry. Alright, so we have an enemy component. Now this could be used both to store the health, but also to know if something is an enemy or not. Enemy component. And we can store whatever else we want to have there as well. Like the type of enemy or whatever, if there's something we need to do there. So there we go. Anyway, now we have access to this. Exclude, no. Alright, so for each enemy, we want to get a projectile iterator. Player, oh, I don't have that either, so I need to add that player projectile. And we're gonna loop through that as well. We get projectile context. Okay. Now we want to get the hitbox of the context. So I'm gonna call hitbox. That will give us the hitbox of the enemy, and this is the projectile hitbox. Okay, and then we're gonna check if hitbox collides with this hitbox, then we have a hit. So we're gonna grab the enemy. Actually, I'm just gonna call hit enemy. The enemy is, actually we don't need game. The enemy is context. And I'll just pass in that one as well. So hit enemy context. Oops. Not enemy context, it's entity context. And the projectile is also an entity context. Okay. yeah. So I'm gonna remove the projectile, and the enemy, I'm gonna say, well, let's get the enemy component. And then enemy component health is gonna be negative equals to 1. If health is 0, we will destroy the enemy as well, and possibly also create an explosion of some kind. But there we go. Okay, so now the enemies should get hit, except they don't, because when we spawn a projectile, we don't add the projectile tag to it, so we have to do that as well. I'm gonna say damage is 1 for now. There we go. So now I can kill these guys, or not. Yeah, that's great. Play projectile, yes, that was added in. Oh yeah, the enemies don't have enemy. The enemies don't have the enemy thing. And I'm gonna edit it with 1 health there. It's gonna depend on the enemy definition though. And also, a thing that I'm worried about is like the bullets that goes off screen should not like hit. There we go. So now we can, now that's going on there. The bullets that go off screen should not hit the things. So I'm going to say in the player update, let's do like iterator player projectile and while iterator next, and I'm gonna say, I'm gonna make a convenience here, is out of bounds. So let's get the body. And actually, let's get the hitbox. And then we're gonna check if I'm also gonna add convenience function here actually. So we have size. Let's get top. It's just going to be position X, Y, I mean. Bottom is Y plus size. Left X. And right is that. And then we're simply going to say, like, if bottom is less than or equal to 0, we return true. If right is less than or equal to 0, equal to true. If left is more, okay, we need like world size. 0 is not correct here though, but yeah, because we want to have the world position as well. So there's going to be like negative world position x. And this one as well. But then we add world size. If this is more than 0. Yeah, there we go. And then top should be same for y. Okay. I mean, technically we could also add world position y here, but it's always going to be 0 anyway, so whatever. Hitbox, I'm gonna say whatever, let's just do that. Okay, and now we have this function here. If we are out of bounds, we're gonna destroy the bullets. There we go. So now the bullets should not destroy the things that are outside of the screen there. What's this? Oh yeah, and if we fall through, it should be false. So we're just checking if hitbox is contained within the thing. Oh wait, wait. If out of bounds, yeah. If the right is less than 0, bottom is less than 0, left x, so negative x plus size. Oh, should be negative size, I think. Yeah, negative size. Okay. Yeah. So there we go. Now the bullets don't kill things that are off screen. Cool. What's happening there? Because there's a way beyond the waves being done there, I think. Destroy. Oh. There's something going wrong with the destroy here. Yeah, destroy. Okay. Oh, we're not checking if it's valid. Right. So we need to go do like reg valid. That checks if the entity already, like if it exists or not. If it doesn't exist, we should skip it. So then it's already destroyed. That's interesting. Because it kind of means that the thing is that like something called destroyed twice on it there. Okay. Cool. So there we go. Oh my god. I just feel like, I don't know, I may have taken too much of my head here. Too much water on my head. I'm gonna refill my coffee. We'll stick with it maybe 1 or 2 more hours. BRB. All right. Okay. So one kind of effect that I'm thinking is like just a very simple effect. It's like let's well, let's go to enemy system. We have these enemy definitions. I'm gonna add another thing, which is the health. So these I'm gonna make them have 2 health. Tier 2 is gonna have, I don't know, 5, 10, 20, I don't know. Kind of sort of doubling, except not. Okay. And then when we spawn the enemy, this is going to be enemy definition health. Okay. So right. So now they should take 2 hits. Man, how can such a simple change generate errors? Expected color. Oh. Use ice. Alright. I know the weapons coming out of the left hand side, but whatever. Okay, now you can see it takes like 2 hits. So what I want to do is like when you hit an enemy, the enemy is gonna get like an effect on it. So we're gonna have like hit, fade, ends at, or something like that. So it ends at some time. And then we're gonna have hit, fade, duration. Let's say 1 second. So I'm just gonna make like a fade, like maybe. Well, you're gonna see. Okay, so yeah, a fade effect. So when we hit the enemy, we are also gonna, well, here we just return, but here we're gonna say hit, fades, ends at, and we're gonna need T here. T plus, well, hit, fade, duration. Okay, so there we go. Now that's set there. Do we need T? Do we have T here? No. Alright. Now, when we draw the things, we draw an enemy, or we draw their things, yes. We're also gonna check here if we're gonna check if try get enemy. This could be const. We don't need it to be. It doesn't matter actually. We get the enemy. I should spend less time focusing on trivial things that doesn't matter. If we get this, we get the enemy thing, right? And we have this hit, fades, ends at. So if hit, fade, ends at is less than well, let's get T here because we need it as well. If it's less than or equal to T, that means we should just go to the next one. Otherwise, we're gonna do kind of like a hit effect here, I think. I'm just gonna try this out here. So let's draw, except I want to draw the sprite, but I want to kind of change the tint. So what we could do is we could copy this renderable fade. We copy the renderable, and then we set the tint to be like alpha, white, and then this is the ratio. And then we draw that in the same place here. So, and the ratio will be I mean, this is gonna look weird because really what I want is like the brightness to go up, but let's see, or I can actually just make a texture that just is the same, except it's gonna be this. Oops. And it's just gonna be like white, you know. So it's just gonna be white. Okay. Oh yeah, and that one lives somewhere else, so we have to kind of take this here. 63.0, 63.27. So actually we need to change the source as well. Okay, there we go. Now we need to calculate the ratio. The ratio is depending on how much this has gone. So the difference is going to T minus enemy hit fate answer. That is how long. Yeah, this should be how long has the time gone from when the fade started. And then we're gonna have the ratio is gonna be this over the fade duration, the total duration there. And that should be, because this is an F64, that's, well, okay, let's make you F32 float from here. No, float cast, so we don't get some weird issues there. Are you happy or sad? You're happy. Okay, cool. So now when we hit, we should see like a weird effect. No, we don't. Okay. What the hell? Systems enemy, hit enemy, hit phase and T plus duration. If we have enemy, we check if the fade is already over, is what this means. Then we continue. Yeah. No, wait, this is actually, wait, this is larger than T. So it should be the other way around. Yeah. Okay, you could see something happening there. Okay, cool. I mean, we got some kind of effect there. I'm gonna make it... what am I gonna make it? I'm going to make it... Actually, you know what? Maybe the player is not supposed to be a hex. Maybe the player is supposed to be a square or something. And they're fighting for the most efficient way to pack a surface on an infinite plane. No, I don't know. What the hell am I doing? Yeah, fade duration, right. So let's do like 0.2 maybe. Yeah. Cool. And you know, there's things like sound effects and stuff like that. Okay, what do we want to get to now? I guess... I mean, we could get to maybe... maybe try to do like a merge thing. Because that's the thing, like the enemies are supposed to kind of merge to upgrade into the next tier. And that seems like a thing that could happen. Okay, so also I want to say after, maybe we'll get like a tier 2 here. The tier could also determine like the AI as well. So it's like tier 1 is just a simple coming down. Tier 2 maybe has some movement patterns. Here we go. Here's tier 2. Oh. Okay, that's actually... I mean, okay, let's do like velocity maybe. So tier 1 was like, I think 200. Yeah. Okay, and then tier 2, let's do like 100. I don't know. Yeah, I guess the harder they are, the slower they'll move. Okay. Cool. Man, it's one thing that what you had like in your head when you kind of think about, okay, I want to do this, but then when you actually put it out into a thing, it's I don't know. I think it's the graphics. The graphics are putting me off a little bit. It just looks so yeah, empty. I don't know. But I think maybe like when you upgrade tiers, the we're gonna have different different graphics for the different tiers. So tier 2 is gonna be slightly larger maybe and have some weapons or something. Tier 3 is gonna maybe will start to like the hexes are like the base design is still a hex, but it's gonna add more variation and stuff to it and stuff like that. But yeah, let's see. What the hell are we doing here? Yeah, so the AI merging, that's the thing, like merging. So that's the thing, like how would that even happen? Because right now they're just moving down. So what would be the kind of thing that would happen that causes them to merge? Maybe it's like predetermined, like if two enemies, like if two enemies collide, maybe they automatically merge. And so some waves spawn maybe two things at the same time, and if they meet in the middle, they will merge and become the next tier. Perhaps. Like, I'm not even sure if this is a good mechanic or not, but I guess we'll just go with it here. And things will be as they are. So yeah, we could do that. Let's make it so that we can actually do that first of all. Because right now this is very rigid here. It's like we have a list of enemies. They all spawn at a specific interval. You can't have, for example, two enemies at the same time spawning very quickly. So maybe instead of this being enemies, maybe instead this is like some kind of spawn definition. Spawn def. Could be a union enum. Probably. It's gonna be the way this works. So let's just call this, I don't know, we could call this I mean, you could just have a simple, which is just enemy. One enemy is just one enemy definition. We could have like a group, which is like multiple enemies, but they should also have their own like position then. So we'll need to have enemies. Oh, excuse me. I guess this could be a group enemy, and it's gonna have its, well, position. Yeah, sure. This is like an override. Okay, position, and then enemy is an enemy definition. Okay. So there we go. Now we should be able to, we're just gonna call you spawns. You're gonna be spawn definitions instead. And we're gonna call you spawns. There we go. I guess the group spawns at the same time then. Yeah. Okay. And then spawns spawned. Next spawn actually is a spawn def now, and not an enemy def. Okay. This is the system here. Spawn next. So here we go. So we got the enemy definition. So we can reuse this, kinda. And we can also but this is the spawn definition and not the enemy definition now. So now we're gonna switch on spawn def. We're gonna check if it's just one enemy. We're just gonna spawn it. Then we get the enemy definition here. If it's a group, we get the group here, and we'll spawn. I'm just gonna do that for now. And you, we don't even need you because we have that. Do we even? Why do we need that? Okay. And the group. So wait. Oh, spawn def group. Okay. And then we essentially just go through each of the enemies in the group. We will spawn this enemy and but we also need to provide a position. So I guess we could provide like a optional position because it's an override, so it's gonna have to be optional. Okay, so position is going to be either this monstrosity or the overration. Position override. We can call this override actually. So this is like if we have position override, it's gonna be that. Otherwise, it's gonna be this monstrosity over here. Okay. And then you are gonna say, well, you're gonna say null because we don't have an override here, and you are gonna override with this position. Okay, so now we have a way to spawn either one enemy at a time, or we can spawn a bunch of enemies at the same time in overrideable positions. So now in the definition here, we can say, for example, in tier in this wave, or we'll insert another wave after here maybe, and we'll say like, whoops, did I see? It's kind of weird. I'm seeing like progress. People are posting like super advanced games already in. I mean, yeah, I'm getting okay. I shouldn't actually. I should actually just close down the fucking the Discord there. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, people are way better than me on this one. Okay, so this one we should do the group here. So actually, these changes now here. These are changing because now you have to say like dot enemy. I should go to spawn def and make convenience functions here. One is gonna be the one enemy, and give you this. This will be enemy, this enemy, and then we'll have the group. I'll call this many. This will give us a group. Yeah, sure, let's do that. Group is gonna be no. Group enemy. Group dot group enemy. And then the group enemy can have any function, position, and definition. Okay. And then here we're gonna say, right, so this one will be like 1. Right. Maybe I should look into like more procedurally generated stuff because yeah, I don't know. Anyway, and then we'll have many, and this will also be a list. And so now it's like we have a position, because then this position doesn't really matter. But okay, whatever. We'll just keep that because yeah. Okay, so position. This is gonna be. I'm gonna say like 0 at the back. I'm gonna actually say this is maybe 60 instead, so that we start further down. So that's the position, and then the enemy definition is just gonna be tier 1. Okay, that's the first enemy of the group, and then we have the second one, and this one is gonna start at, so all the way to the right, which I don't remember exactly what the size was. Yeah, 405, 0, or at the back. And that's also a tier 1. So when they kind of meet up, if they have the same tier, they should merge and become the next tier there. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to component enemy. I'm also gonna add, I'm just gonna say tier here. let's add here as a use size. Okay, and then let's see. What are we going to do with you? All right, Penguin, good night. See you later. Probably tomorrow, maybe. I'm gonna try and be on like every day, because otherwise I won't have time to do this. And any like capacity of trying to make a game here. So okay, where are we? What are we doing here? So what did I do? I forgot. Oh yeah, we added this. Oh yeah, so yes, another thing I want to add as well is I want to add velocity as well. Velocity velocity overridden. Alright. Which means that over here now we have to add velocity as well. No, that's not what I want. I want you. Okay. So 0. Actually, no. This should be like, I don't know. Let's do 100, 100. That should go down right, and then 100, negative 100, 100. So that should go down left, because they started left and they started right. So they should meet in the center, and when they meet, they should initiate some kind of merging thing. Well, they don't do it now, but I'm gonna add it. Expected 2, found 1. Oh yeah, you need tier now, so it's gonna be like int from enum enemy definition. Okay. So, I mean, I could have sped it up by disabling the other waves, but also I should change. I'm gonna change the background because it's kind of hard to see the bullets. Actually, I can't really see them that well, to be honest. Yeah, and then this comes like that, and now we should get. Wait. Oh, wait. Okay, I forgot to. Okay, two things. There seems to be an issue, of course, and then also. Oh yeah, so there's this here. I forgot. I need to add the world position. So I'm gonna do that after here, actually. So position equals position dot add that. And we're just gonna make you mutable. Okay, so there we go. So there's one of the things that needed to be done. And then the other thing is the velocity is also like if we have a velocity override, we should use that, otherwise this one. So I'm gonna add velocity override as well, and then you are gonna be null there as well, but you are gonna use this velocity here. we can also make those optional, so you don't have to always provide those, but that should be fine. Okay, so now that should work. I'm just gonna compile here. And one thing that I want to do though is I want to kind of disable everything before, so we get this immediately here. There we go. We can see them moving towards each other there. Although they are not really centered though. So that is... Maybe I should actually make them centered around, not like, well, maybe the position should be the center and not the thing. The problem though is that if we do that, I have to change like the hitbox calculations and all that stuff as well. And I mean, because we could easily just, if I go here, I just think that's better overall, because it's so much easier to do things like this if the position is like the center of the object instead of the thing. So essentially, when we draw the thing, we go down here and we set the origin. We just change the origin, except that's a rectangle. We just change the origin here. Let's make an origin. Well, actually, we could take size. Oh, that's rotation, right? It doesn't matter actually. And then we scale it by half, and that's the origin, yeah. So we'll just do origin. So now everything should be like drawn with the center being the actual center. And now they come in at like, now you can see the enemies come in exactly at the center now instead. So that's good. Now the problem is now though, that the hitboxes are still not, like they are not centered on the thing. So if we go over to hitbox, the hitbox function, we have the hitbox component. We also have this calculation here. So if we don't have a hitbox, we get the hitbox there. I think what I'm gonna do is, because we kind of have to do the same thing twice. Actually, it doesn't matter. We have to do some stuff here. The position is going to be, ah, man. No. Yeah. The position will be, you know what? I'm gonna add an origin thing here. Okay, and that's, I think I'm just gonna do this because it and not worry about the other implementations, because we only have sprites right now. Actually, I think we actually need the other ones because it's gonna be compiler otherwise. And this is a rectangle. I mean, it's essentially gonna be the same thing. Actually, we already have. Actually, you know what? We already have. Like we already have like origin. yeah, like origin is renderable origin. It's kind of like an extension here. Instead of doing this, we could just get the size and return size scale a half. There we go, that's the origin. It's shadowing, okay. And you... Well, actually, let's just return. Okay, so there we go. There's our origin. When I get the origin, it's gonna be renderable origin there, and then position is gonna be body position at, no, it's gonna be subtract origin, because the position is the hitbox position is the top left. So the, and because 0, 0 is the center, or the body position is the center, we have to subtract half of the size to get up to the top left position. Okay, and then it's the same thing over here. Yeah, but we need the origin. But the origin here, in this case, it's just going to be the hitbox component, actually. It's just going to be hitbox component size. No? Stop it. Size, and then scale, half. Yeah, that's the origin there. And then add position. I think that should be fine. I'm not sure if I have like hitbox draw here. No, I don't. Debug draw. Okay, let's add a debug draw here. And let's get everything that has a body, essentially. I guess a renderable is also good. Okay, and then we'll while. No, we get a context. Yeah, and then hitbox game. No, self hitbox. Okay, and then we draw a rectangle. Hitbox position, hitbox size. Color is alpha red 0.5, let's say, so we can see that hitbox there. So, and we'll draw this after the renderables. Debug draw. Okay, so now we should see all the hitboxes. Yeah, and it looks correct. Cool. Okay. Cool. I'm gonna do that though. So great. Now let's go back to enemy. So I'm gonna go back to this thing here, and because I think that they are kind of a little bit too quick here. maybe if we make a little bit of extra room there and perhaps also lower their speed as well, because you're basically gonna have no time to make them like to stop them from merging essentially. So now it's like they're coming in, oh my god, they're gonna merge, kill them quick. Yeah, and then it crashes because I think the wave is like over the stage. There's no more stage or something like that. Actually, let's look at why it's crashing. Enemy 1.2. Oh, we're calling next wave, but there is no next wave. Wait, is over. So the current stage is over, but then we're not checking if we're... Yeah, we are checking here. Stages length, that should be 1. So why are we not getting in here is the question. Maybe we are. No, we shouldn't be. Because then it would work. Because we're returning after that. So instead this fails. Or maybe we're still in the stage, but... Oh, I see. So we advance, but then we should be over. It should be over. Because this only has 1 wave. And you are increasing it, yes. Okay, well, we'll figure it out later. It's not the problem at hand. So, okay, what I'll do is I'll just add like a couple of empty waves here. Okay, so now we shouldn't crash, like trying to see how this will unfold basically. But now it's pretty much impossible for me to actually not kill them. Because they're so slow, so my projectiles will automatically hit. Okay, there we go. I can just move. So when they merge, what we could do is we could check update hits. Let's have a thing like, well, let's copy you. And let's have update merges. So we'll grab enemies. We'll get... No. Actually, we need 2 enemy iterators. Your other IT. And we do need a hitbox. You're gonna be the other hitbox. Yeah, sure. And you're gonna be other context. And we're gonna check for collision. If they collide. So what I'm gonna say is like, even though it says check collision, I thought it looked kind of cool when they kind of just happen to be at an almost exact same position. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say when they are approximately in the same position, like 1 or 2 pixels or 3 pixels, whatever, then they're gonna kind of merge into one. So we're gonna say, and possibly when they're merging, should they, like, how should you be able to like attack them, is that already gonna be like the new enemy, or is that gonna be like an invincible thing? We'll see. So instead of checking for collision, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use standard library math approximately equal absolute F32. We're gonna have to check both here. We could also just do dx is hitbox position x minus other hitbox position x, dy, and then we could check. We could also do a convenience function here. Check collision. We could have like distance 2. F32, and then essentially we just say self position distance to other position. Yeah. So that's just gonna be distance is hitbox distance to other hitbox. Pretty inefficient. Like we could get the squared to make it more, because this requires like a square root or whatever, and but it's pretty quick on, you know, that has been like a classic bottleneck, but I don't think it's gonna be a huge deal. As long as it runs on my computer, it should be fine. Okay, so let's see. But we might, I mean, depending on how much entities we want to have in the game, this is gonna bog down, like having brute force checks on everything, you know, it's gonna be a lot of things. So we might use like the grid spatial for dynamic body checking as well. Or I could copy over my quad tree implementation, we'll see. But anyway, so we have the distance, if the distance, so that should be squared, or that should be like absolute already. So the distance is less than or equal to merge distance threshold. Then we're gonna merge context and other context. So merge and other. Actually, let's call these A and B. I think there's going to be other requirements as well, like their tier should be the same, probably. So what we could do actually is we could get the enemy component and we could say if other enemy, and we also need the one, we also need here. If the tier is the same or is not the same as enemy tier, then we continue. Okay. We could also make them tags, because then we would do less looping, but whatever. Okay, so we have merge. We might need game here. I don't think so though, because we have kind of, I think we have game over here, yeah. Okay, so that is merging there. Also, when we merge, then this one will continue outer here. So we'll skip like the rest of the checks here, because we already found our match, and move on to the next like thing here. Okay. I think also we might need like is merging here, because otherwise we might trigger multiple merges. So merge, so then like 8 A. Okay, let's get enemy A. And not const. Now we actually need to modify this. And then B. Enemy A is merging is true. Enemy B is merging is true. Now the question is, do we destroy them, create a new one that is like currently merging into a tier 2 that has like a special state or something? Is merging I'm gonna say position, so enemy, no, this will be body. Position is gonna be kind of like the two positions interpolated like 50% between. So position, is there like lerp? Yes. To B position amount is 0.5. That is the position of the new enemy. Spawned by enemy definition. We can do that. How much time do I have? Oh, I'm kind of out of time here. But this is actually, this is, I mean, I don't know. I like this. We need game. I mean, we have game, A game. Our A game. We can bring our A game there. Enemy definition is gonna be, well, it depends. I'm gonna do like int, no, enum from int. Actually, also, if enemy tier is like the maximum tier, which is gonna be meta tags, enemy definition, length. Actually, I could just make this here max tier. Dot length. That's the max tier. Well, actually, it's not the max tier. It's like number of tiers. Enemy definition and tiers. If this is equal to n tiers minus 1, that means we're at the max tier, so it can't merge. So then we should also skip that as well. Okay. Position override. Yeah, we should have position override is just position. Velocity is also something we need. So when something merges, what the hell do we do then? Do we take like the, well, actually we just take the normal definition here. Enemy def. Yeah. Enemy def is enemy def. Enum from int. Enemy A tier plus 1. And then this is going to be the velocity. Actually, well, then we don't need to override, actually, because that's going to be defined by whatever we put in the enemy definition there. Right, we need merge threshold. So you are, so this is the distance where they would merge. I'm gonna pick something very small. So basically 3 pixels distance there. Self should exist. All right. Okay. So this would now be, it should happen like immediately. I think we are going to actually destroy these as well. Yeah, so they are destroyed, and then the new enemy is spawned. Let's see. No. Wait, are we calling update merges? No, we don't. All right. Wait, they merged. Wait, they merged into like tier 4? What the hell? Oh, I know why. I know why. The okay, it's because they are the same entity. Because we're looping through all entities, and then we're looping through all entities again. Now, if this were like a for loop, which we could technically, we could make it into for loops, because these are like the iterators here only have 1 tag, so we could make them into, but I want to try and make this work anyway. Now, so let's do this. Let's add equals other. Okay. Now the thing is, the entities, like, I'm not sure how you can check if they are equal, because I don't think there is like an equals function here. Like, we can check index if the index is the same. Whoa. The value is this bitcast. Okay, it's writing the whole thing. We could, I guess index would be one way to check it, maybe, because the index should be the same. Version is, I think, is like if you destroy an entity and then it takes up the same index, but it's a different version. So I guess we need to check both. If this is equal to other index and version is other entity version, return. I think, okay, well, I guess we'll check it. If context equals other context, we skip this one. All right. Okay. Wow. I mean, it kind of worked, I guess. I'm not sure where it went. Wait, did we also add a check if they are merging? Right, so if is merging, we also continue, because if they're merging, we should also not do anything. Okay, I mean, the position is weird. What do you actually do? I mean, okay, we don't know. Like, I guess you're not a difference, I hope. Oh, I see what's going on. So when we spawn by enemy definition, this override is actually supposed to be relative to the the world, but not this screen. So, but these two positions are relative to the screen and not the world. So these are kind of like screen coordinates and not world coordinates. So we actually have to modify. We have to actually get the world size here. No, the position, I mean. And modify here. So we have to say subtract to get back to world position. Okay. Or world coordinates. Oh, I missed both of them. And there we go. It merges into one. So there we go. Now we have the merge. We have the merge. Okay, there we go. We have hexes and merge. I'm done. No, but yeah. I guess yeah. We'll try to continue this one. I have to go now, but we'll continue this tomorrow at the same time. So yeah, we'll see how far we'll get. This was day 1 here. I'll also push this up onto GitHub because they were supposed to be like public repositories. So this will be available on my GitHub. I will change my description to have the link there in the video, in the YouTube video. And but yeah, that's gonna be it for this time. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.